is RoslynBazzelle. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to be talking about the story of this dress. So this is the amazing dress that I wore to the Wearable Art Gala in Los Angeles a few weeks ago that was hosted by Mr. Richard Lawson and Mrs. Tina Lawson, where Beyonce and Jay-Z's mother, Mrs. Carter, were honored. The inspiration initially for this dress was based on some photographs that I saw of Elle Fanning at the 2017 Cannes Film Festival, where she was wearing this amazing Vivienne Westwood dress that had artwork and this beautiful painting going all the way down the back of the dress. I mean, I saw it and I was just like, how do I do something similar or something like that? Because that for me was just the pinnacle of what wearable art should be and would look like for me. And I was trying to figure out, okay, so number one, where can I find a dress where it needs to pretty much be an all satin, a light color that is very paint friendly and is not super duper expensive, because I know I'm only gonna wear this dress one time to one event because it is so unique. And so I didn't really want to spend a lot of money. And so instantly I thought about, oh wow, you know, wedding dresses. Wedding dresses are white or cream, or they're light, and it's like an open canvas. And so I went by I looked online and I went by David's Bridal. And thankfully they actually had two dresses, one they had in stock and one that was in the warehouse, which one was a champagne colored, it was beautiful, A-line dress with a heart-shaped bustier at the top, and then the other one was the Zac Posen. So the Zac Posen Truly line that he partnered on with David's Bridal had a dress. It was discontinued actually, so it wasn't in the store, which also means it was more than half off. Save some money. But it was in their warehouse in Pennsylvania. So I was trying to figure out how, I talked to the ladies, I was like, is there any way I can get this dress in 3 days? Because I need it yesterday. I'm going to this event in 2 weeks. How do I get this dress in the city of Houston? And I've got to get it painted, and I've got to get it fitted, and I've got to get it altered. And so these ladies were amazing at David's Bridal because they knew what I needed it for, and even though it wasn't a wedding, they still made sure that I got what I needed within the time frame. So they ordered the dress on I think it was a Thursday or a Friday. The dress arrived in their store on a Monday. So I picked up the dress, and it was this beautiful white, you know, actually cream dress that had the bustier in the back. And I knew from the beginning I needed to do whatever I could to kind of take it out of that wedding look and into more of that artistic look. So the very first thing I did is the original version of the dress had buttons. You know, of course, it's a wedding dress. It had these beautiful buttons all the way down the back of the dress. And you should have seen the alterations lady look on her face, because I asked her to go into the back of David's Bridal and get me one of those devices where you can cut thread or open up. They're not scissors, and I can't think of the proper name for it. But anyway, I got that device and I started picking the buttons off the back of this dress, and the woman almost had a heart attack. She was like, what are you doing? Oh my goodness. And I kept trying to explain to them, this is not for a wedding. This is an art project that I'm working on, and so I need these buttons gone. So I took all the buttons off the back, and then it had this gathering here where it was underneath. And I told her, I said, I need this gone too. So she actually helped me. So then we pulled all of the tacks at the back. I said, I need it to be flat because I need to be able to paint. So she took all of those out for me. And so we got that part done. And they ironed it in 24 hours. Not ironed it, they steamed it for me because it was wrinkled because it had been shipped. And again, from a time frame, I needed everything immediately. 24 hours, I came back the next day, picked it up, and I headed out to the artist that I had found. In terms of the design itself, because I wanted something that was more whimsical, I had done as much research as I could to try to find an artist, a local artist in Houston that could help me, that was comfortable with painting on fabric, and that was available to do this in 3 days. So the style of painting that I was looking for and that I kind of liked, especially about the Vivienne Westwood, to me it really looked really whimsical. Her particular dress had a unicorn on it. I knew I wasn't going for a unicorn. I was probably gonna have a black cat. But still, I knew I wanted flowers, and I wanted suns, and I wanted hearts, and I wanted some combination. So generally I knew that, and so I thought of, what about face painters? There's a lot of face painters in the city of Houston, and they can do some beautiful designs immediately on people. I've seen their artwork, and so I started reaching out to face painters because none of the true artists and painters that I was running into were available or could even understand the concept or get ready for it. So I reached out to a beautiful young lady named Michelle, and she is the owner and creator of Houston Face Painters and Balloons in the city of Houston. And I called her out of the blue, never met her before in my life, and she took my call and she responded immediately, and I told her what I was working on, and she was like, wow, I love that. That is so exciting. I was like, awesome. I said, what's your schedule this week? Because I need this done in like 3 days. And she says, okay, fine, come over tomorrow. So I mean, as soon as, well, I told her I was picking up the dress on Monday, so I picked up the dress, put it in my car, drove to her house, and dropped it off. First time I'd ever met the woman in my life, but she was so wonderful and so sweet. And she immediately got really excited about the project. She had ideas about what she wanted to do, and so we just kind of coordinated and worked together. And I was consulting with Siobhan. You know, she's my creative consultant of all things amazing.
So this dress, it started via a text. We were deciding between a Zac Posen, which is this one, and another dress that was on David's bridal. And when I saw this dress, it screamed to me. It had the satin, first of all, was just beautiful. It had a beautiful cathedral train, which is just awesome, which of course has been cut down tremendously from all the creativity that we put into the dress. And the tank straps, and it was just really beautiful dress. And I guess the ultimate goal was to create a work of art on this already beautiful dress, but to try to make it not look like a wedding dress. So ultimately, of course, it had a lot of satin, and it was, we cut it down a lot and added the black and white tooling, was just to add a little bit of edge. And Roz had some amazing artists do some beautiful flowers and a beautiful panther on the back, because the theme of the event was, originally there was no theme. It was just, you know, wearable art, do what you want to do. But then we found out it was a Wakanda theme. So we decided, after many variations, to have someone do a Black Panther design on the back with some other added details, and it ended up looking amazing. So when we got the dress, of course it was all completely this beautiful satin white color or cream, and we painted the entire top part of the dress in this metallic pewter color, which was just beautiful. We had to be very careful to paint around the flower detailing that the painter did on the dress, but it ended up looking really beautiful. And once the painter added all these amazing details on the back, we then realized how difficult, you know, it had to have been to calculate all of these pleats, since it has the cartridge pleating in the back, which is super detailed and creates these huge folds. So we were trying to imagine the dress moving so we could add some more and embellish some more. So we added a lot more of these beautiful starbursts so that when she would walk and it would flow, you could see some more detail. And it ended up turning out really, really amazing. And the artist actually did an amazing job with the roses and the flowers and the panther. So it ended up turning into a beautiful, beautiful piece of art.
So I'd also found out within those 2 weeks prior to the event was that it was actually going to have a Wakanda theme. And just to complicate matters even more, I was leaving town a week before the event to go to Colorado for spring break. So I know I said 2 weeks, which was the entire creative process for the dress, but I really got the dress in town, got the dress ironed, well, steamed, painted, altered, and ready to go, and for the most part, in 1 week, which is amazing. So in order to make this more of a Wakanda themed dress, we decided to put my little panther here on the back. So he's from Wakanda. He's here visiting us in Houston, Texas, and he will stay with me in this dress forever. But for the most part, you know, we wanted to just do something really unique and really different that spoke to me and my personality and the things that I love. So by that, I think it was that Friday, she was ready. Michelle had finished most of the artwork on the dress. She'd finished the cat and everything else. The only thing she had left, I think, Friday morning was she was doing some of the sunbursts. And so I met her at 12 noon. I had already called my alterations guy at Quality Custom Tailors here in Houston and given him a heads up that I needed a wedding dress altered and cut and reshaped in 24 hours. And he said, I can do it. So I picked up the dress from her at 12, put it in my car, immediately drove over to Quality Custom Tailors. And so when we first got the dress, you will see from the photos that, I mean, it was humongous. I mean, it had this huge train. The front was super long. And again, I was trying to find a way to keep its beauty and the volume, but remove some of the wedding-like features of the dress. And so this was actually an inspiration from another Vivienne Westwood dress, which was featured in the Sex and the City, her wedding dress, the initial wedding dress she had at the first Sex and the City movie. And so if you remember that particular dress, it had sort of a asymmetric shape in the front and it folded under. And so I was thinking of doing that, and so when I went in, I said, oh, I just want to put 1 or 2 of these under, and then it looked a little odd. And so what we ended up doing is pretty much putting the entire front. So all we did was take the front of the dress, bring it under, and he put some tacks underneath it, under here. So he didn't cut anything off. All he did was bring the front of the dress up and he tacked it underneath. So that was one of the first steps. And so of course there was tons of tulle coming down in the front, which initially I left. I was gonna leave that because that reminded me of another dress I'd just seen on the red carpet that did have a mixture of the tulle and the satin. And then after I thought about it, and again, I'm trying to take this out of a wedding look, I said, what if I added some black tulle to the bottom? So I went to, I'm now in Colorado. So I was in Colorado, I was like, I went to Walmart, and in the Walmarts in Colorado, up in the mountains, they have everything. So they had black tulle. So I went and got some black tulle, which you will see, and it was long initially, and it went the length of the dress. And so I hand sewed it, because I did not have a sewing machine there. I hand sewed it, and all of this was the original length of the dress all the way to the ground. So I added that, just to see what that looked like in the front. And then I said, you know, I kind of like the high-low. So grab some scissors. To Siobhan's surprise, once again, she was looking at me like, oh my God, what are you doing? Why are you taking scissors to this dress? I said, no, just this is an artistic piece. It's a creative work. So we took scissors and cut the tulle so that I wanted it to fall just a tad longer than the front skirt, which is what it does. So you just kind of see the tulle peeking out for the most part. So what you'll see is the tulle peeking out underneath, which is what I wanted. And then I wanted it to show a little bit of the color of the black, but not be too much, but just a hint of the black coming from underneath. So that was one of the first things. And of course my alterations guy, he cut off a lot. He still left some of the train so that you could see the cat, but I'm sure, I mean, he had to have taken a foot, maybe a foot. This dress was humongous, a foot or a foot and a half off the bottom. And I mean, beautiful work. It's a little bit dirty just because I wore this and people were stepping on it, but even you can see for 24 hours, I mean, these people did an amazing job. They worked it out, seriously. And then I was still trying to work and figure out other things that I could add to the dress. So then I and my somewhat creative self decided, let's add some more painting to it. So I did this part myself, so I added these. This flower was already here, Michelle had done that. And then me and Siobhan, who was staying with me in Colorado, luckily, we decided to give it some more sunbursts. So we had a little bit of the sunburst look, but we wanted more. So we went through the back of the dress and we just added a lot more sunburst to it to give it a little bit more of that artistic and design look. And then of course I wanted to add my name to it. So I added my name and I went back and forth with Siobhan about this bodice. She wanted to leave it. Then I convinced her to paint some of the panels. So we did a few of the panels. So we had done, I believe, this part and this panel, and then we had done this panel, and then I'd left the rest. So the sides were still ivory. And so this is now Friday night, and I'm leaving to go to the event Saturday morning. And between Friday night and Saturday morning, at 6:30 in the morning when I got up, in my head I decided I want the entire thing to be painted. And if you had seen me in the airport Saturday, I literally was in the airport waiting because I had to stop somewhere in between on my flight to LA. In the airport with this dress laid out across several chairs with my paint and my paintbrush. And this was the hardest part, was the flower was already there, and I had literally by hand very carefully went through to paint all around the flowers because I wanted to keep those in because I thought they were so gorgeous. I didn't want to paint over them. And then the other hard part was, of course, here with this design coming down the back. And so this is Saturday, and every time I had a stop or a break in between on my way to LA, I was painting. Get off the plane, get into a Uber, get to my hotel. I had like one panel left. And I was just doing touch-up work. So I literally was painting this dress up to 10 minutes before I was putting the dress on and heading to the event. So this is my dress story. This is the result of some amazing people that just, I can't say enough about them, in between Siobhan, the ladies at David's Bridal, Quality Custom Tailors, Michelle. They're really the ones that helped me make this what it was, and it was an amazing evening. I had a phenomenal time, and so I just want to thank everybody that helped me with this, and I hope you enjoyed learning more about my creative process in this particular dress story, and I hope I have more stories like this to tell you about some more wearable art. Maybe this is something we'll do on a regular basis, I don't know, but thanks for joining me today on my channel, and for more videos on health, wellness, and a fashionable lifestyle, please subscribe to my YouTube channel today at RoslynBazzelle.com, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.